All right, welcome to the Tulip tutorial. I'm ready to start this. I decided to use, this is the drafting film. It's 0.05, I believe, double-sided matte. And I'm also going to start out with my Pablo pencils, and I'm going to start in the green area. I picked the Pablo because I like the green selection in there, but I might switch to some polychromos up in here just because I can get a tighter point on those pencils without it going away too quickly. But yeah, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to start with the green up this way. This line art should be in the files if you're not prepped for it yet and you're just like kind of scooting around looking at things just to see if you want to start this. That's fine, but it will be in there, and then you can start it once you get it all traced onto your paper or your surface, whatever you're using. Again, I'm using the drafting film. You can use something different. It won't be exact to what I'm doing, but as long as you know your surface, you should be able to recreate. There's just a few different like things that we do with different surfaces, compared to each other. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's get started on the tulip. All right, so we're going to start here at the stem and work our way up to finish at the top. So first of all, I'm going to take my kneaded eraser and I'm going to lighten these lines just in the stem. Just so I can still see that. I don't want to totally get rid of it, but I don't want it to muddy up my pencils. Just like this. And then I'm just going to do this little part in here. Now this is going to be what we're going to be doing throughout the picture. So we'll be lightening everything and redrawing it with the color. So you should still be able to see that. And I have my black and white in front of me, as well as my colored picture. And then I also have it on my phone so I can see the colors on the phone. So first, I want to start out with a lighter base. Okay, so let's go in with this light olive. The light olive seems like a good choice because it's lighter, but it's kind of like a mid-tone. So I'm going to go ahead and outline that line there. I'm not sure what that little thing is right there, but that's okay. Couldn't get it to erase. Okay, and since we're on the drafting film, we don't need to be real heavy. So I'm going to be real light, and I just want to get a nice, even layer. I'm going to be real light, and I'm just going to scumble this in. If you've never heard of that term, it's just working in tiny circles. Just working across. And work my way down all the way the length of the stem. Now, since this is a bit shadowed, the stem is a little bit shadowed as compared to the rest of it, and it's more dark on the right side than it is the left. If you're getting funny lines, you can tighten up your scumbling. I find I get impatient sometimes and just want to do a longer oval rather than a circle. But this can help if you just tighten up that scumble a little bit further. Okay. Oops. let's go ahead in with just a regular, just an olive. So I'm going to go straight in with just olive. It's a little bit darker, okay? So I'm going to follow this on this right-hand side. And I have my black and white photo up just to see how dark the darks are. Because a lot of times we can look at it and think we know what we're seeing. But in all actuality, it's a lot darker than what our brain wants to admit. So just the olive, I'm just going to do a nice light layer of that, and then I'm going to work my way here and up. We're going to come up around. As we go, see, this is going to be a lot darker. We're going to get some browns and stuff in there too, but we're just going to take our time and get this color blended as a deeper color. That nice dark value. And it goes pretty close. Pretty close to that edge. I'm still somewhat scumbling here. I don't want to do just straight lines. That would make it look real goofy. I'm being very light-handed, especially with the drafting film. Let's see, all the way down, pretty consistent the whole way down. Again, I'm not being heavy-handed about this at all. Let's put in I'm going to do maybe a little bit of the spring green on that brighter edge, and then we'll blend it with the light olive again. So let's just bring it in towards here. This is just going to give it a little pop of color. And I'm just scumbling it. Don't be afraid to cross over into the olive area to blend. Again, don't dig at your paper, but instead keep it light. Just like that. All right. Go ahead and get your light olive and let's blend that. Just nice and easy. Can even go into that olive color. It's going to tone down that yellow and that spring green. Bring it to a more neutral green color. It's raining out. I'm wondering if you can hear the raindrops hitting the roof. Perfect day to sit down and enjoy drawing. All right, now I'm going to go in with my olive black. Now this one's going to be significantly darker, so we're going to have to be very careful not to wash out those other layers of green. So we're going to start on this edge like we have been. Oops. Just looking to see where the shadows are. It's a little bit of a brighter color in there. I'm going to turn up the light on my camera, on my phone, so I could see. So I'm going to keep these scumblings very tight. I don't want to stray too far from keeping those scumbles tight because I don't want it to get streaky. Right here, if you look, you've got like this structure, kind of shadows straight down like this. Kind of stays consistent to a point, and it kind of fades. So there's another one. So we're looking now at all those deeper tones, just trying to find those structures of shadows like that. That one's not as prominent, but then we'll continue to darken and just bring it we'll do lighter over here, lighter hand, blend that just a little bit. Let's bring it all the way, and I want to get, there's a few shadows in there too, so we can actually kind of pull this up in here just a little bit. We're going to have to blend. There are some deeper structures in here that you can kind of see like this. They're like the stem, like stem lines where they grow and the ridges. All right. I'm going to go back through with my olive and let's blend. Okay, I found an olive brown. It's not quite what I was looking for, but it might do the trick. We're going to have to do some deeper tones. So I might put a little bit of brown in there. It might be a little too red though, but I feel like the umber would be a little bit too dark. So I've got olive brown and brown. So let's start, I'm going to start right up in this little area here. Get a little bit darker. And I'm going to be light because I don't want to wash out the green. I don't want to put in too much and then it look really crappy. So we're just going to add some of this brown along, and then we're going to add the olive brown on top. Trying to keep those streaks together too, kind of like you do with hair. Like if you were doing a pet portrait, you're kind of going with the furs direction. So these are like the streaks of the stem. So we're just going to kind of go along with that as well. All right, so the olive brown, this will be good to blend that. Oh yeah, it's working. And then we're going to need something just a touch darker. I don't know that I want to go with a black, but I could blend some into the deeper areas. It would be fine, like in here. Again, I'm not digging at my paper, but I am blending it. Lots of layers. I need to work on this brighter area. Getting good on this darker area. We're getting past that ugly stage. I'm going to go lighter on this edge. Alright. I'm going to throw, now I have this little bitty tiny umber and I think I'm going to use that if I can even sharpen it. My goodness. So it's really tiny, but we can put some in here at least. And then just come along here with it. This is the umber again. Don't have much of it left. Hopefully the shipment comes quickly. I don't know when I'm supposed to get it. I should probably look at that. I'm going to do some lines. Blend a little bit, and then we'll have to go back in with some green. How about some of our olive? We'll just do regular olive, just to blend that brown and umber in there. All right, keep that olive out. I'm going to use just a touch of black. I love black. but in these deeper spaces. So right in here, I'm going to work our way out. Keep that scumbling small and tight. And then let's bring it, because it's not totally black all the way, but I'm just going to bring it down this way for the shadow. And then it kind of disappears, so we won't do too much more. I just like black. Just seems right to me. And there's not much going down there, so I won't do any more. But what I think I am going to do is get out another green, maybe a light olive. I'm going to put more up in here. Blend these colors again. And I'm being a little bit stripey with it, kind of coming down and moving through these darker bits. Just give it some texture. Some extra color. All right, let's do a little bit of the spring green. Just put it on here, make it a little bit brighter. You can even push it through some of those darker areas. Try not to dig at your paper. And then I think I'm going to go through and let's put some texture in there. I want to get my Mono Zero. It's my Mono Zero. It's just a Tombow. And we're going to work through and try to give it some texture by removing some of that pigment. Just going to lighten up some areas. Put some specks in there. Just kind of work your way through it. And I keep rotating it because the eraser does get dirty. And if it gets too dirty, it won't erase. But once we get some little bits of color removed, let's see, I'm even going to go in, I like that. I'm going to go in then with my slice tool and we're going to do some more just to give it more texture. These are all super helpful tools, especially with this type of paper. See, it's lifting up just a little bit. Give it that nice textured look. Okay, let's go through with our slice tool. Now the slice you're going to use, I have the rounded tip here. So see how it's rounded right at that tip there. We're going to use that to kind of scrape off some of those colors. And this works really well on this paper. So you're going to go through, just sort of scrape off a little bit, little specks. I'm not digging. I'm just kind of working a little circle. And it's making it look like there's some texture in there, and that's what we want. You can make some extra like ribs too if you wanted to by going down through and making like lines. See, gets that nice, looks like texture. And we'll come back through with a darker pencil. And we're going to make those little bits like pop out even more. They're going to look like highlights rather than just little specks. Okay. So grab your olive, make sure it is sharp. And we're just going to work around a few of them. You know, of course, we'll take our time. So wherever you see them, you're going to kind of just work around them. Make a little bit of a shadow. And it's going to give it a deeper effect. That's what we want to see with texture. Keep working your way through and around those little light specks. So now it looks like there's lots of texture there. We can even go a little bit darker with our olive black and just further deepen some of those areas, but be a little bit more sporadic with it. I wouldn't follow everything that you did. I mean, that's up to you though, if you want to. If you feel like it looks better that way, go ahead. I'm going to come in here like this, deepen up some of those lines. So we're getting more of a textured feel here. Make sure I don't have any. Sometimes you'll get like powder, like the dust from the what you're working on. So just periodically with this paper, I'll go through and just kind of wipe. Okay. So far I like that. Maybe do a couple more brighter areas with the slice tool. If you don't have a slice tool and you just want to do something, you can use an X-Acto. It's a little bit more dangerous just because the tip is so sharp. You might actually cut a hole in your piece, which I wouldn't want to see that, but it's an option. You just have to really, really watch and make sure that you're not going to cut into your paper or your surface. So here's some olive black. I want to deepen this up even more. I feel like it is not dark enough. Just scumbling some of those areas, just like that. I think I'm going to take some of the light olive again. Just come in here again. Just do some wider scumbling. Just like that. All right. Okay, let's do a little bit of the spring green in this edge over here. And we're just about ready to move on. Just about. I'll put a little bit in here. Do some spots and specks of the spring green all around. Okay. All right, now let's start. I think I'm going to start with this. Oh, that's such a big petal. I'm wondering if I should start elsewhere. Maybe this one first. So there's a lot of olives and greens in the other parts of the petals. This tulip is in process of blooming, so we've got a lot of greens up in. So I think I'm going to start here and work my way up around the left. So let me get my camera together. All right, so I want to start here. I'm going to go again with our eraser, and I think even though I don't think there's any black in the stem, I might go back through and put some in. I'm like stepping back, like my brain just wants the black in there. There's a little bit of pink up here, so we'll start seeing lots of different things going on here. Okay, so get as much as you can off without losing your lines completely. So I'm focusing on that little sliver right there. And I think what I might do first is use the pale yellow as a base. Now I see a lot of green in there, but I also see some yellow. So that might be, I don't think it'll be too difficult, but it might be a little challenging. I'm going to grab my glassine paper and I want to get it put here so that I don't smudge the rest of my portrait. So let's go ahead, and there might be a little bit of a shadow, but just like before, we're just going to follow those lines. I might even do a little bit more of a, let me see. I'm going to grip my Tombow here. Oops. Just real lightly. Don't want to lose it. This is the end of that yellow, so take my kneaded eraser, get all those little bits, and then we'll continue. Just come along here and that, and then very lightly, sorry about the shadow there. Put some pale yellow. Okay. Whoops. I just scumbled it in, nothing super fancy. So now instead of using all of the olives and stuff, I'm going to use some of the olives, but I want to use some spring green in there. And it looks like it's kind of like down in here, but then we get more yellow up there. So let's go ahead and start here with some spring green. just going to bring it up this way, and it's also shadowed in here because it's like a fold underneath. And now I'm going to use a little bit of that light olive because it's just slightly darker. Bring it just like this around here, and then I think I'm just going to follow this up. This area here, we can even do that one. So this part behind here is like obviously another part of that petal. It's the inside of this petal. It's like curled. So I'm just going to take some of this out because we don't want it to make our pencils yucky. Good, good, good. Okay, I'm going to use my light olive for this area. I don't want to go too dark because it's going to be more of a grass green in there. And then we have some pink on the edges. So, all right, let us get, I'm going to do a little bit of just the olive in this area. Kind of tighten up that petal just a little bit further. Maybe pull up. Make it a little sharper here. This is the light olive. Okay, back to the olive. And then we'll bring it in here. This is that area, it's kind of like creamish color, maybe a little bit of that pale yellow, maybe a little bit of pink. And then some of the spring green, we'll bring it in. And I'm just going to bring some of it in here, and we'll do some more of that pale yellow. I might bring a brighter yellow in there, maybe a green ochre. Okay, a little bit of green ochre coming. Has that nice yellowy sort of feel as well. We're going to use it to put a little bit of some just texture in there. Let's grab some of our pink. Actually, no. Let's do that green first. That darker green. I'm going to put a little bit of bluish green in there. Just real light. I think I'm also going to darken it up with the olive black. And then let's put, I just want a touch of umber just to make that green a little bit darker. And then I'm going to put some spruce green in there. Maybe get those edges a little bit more sharp. We might have a touch like in here. I'm going to be very gentle, very light, because I'm going to have to go through and blend that again. I'm going to put a little shadow under here. Keep going with that. I like the way that that looks. All right, let's put a little bit more, let's put some olive black in here. We don't want it as dark as this area, but we want to darken it just a little bit further so that it steps back into the petals instead of pushing forward. There's a little bit of an edge here with some green. And darken that one up a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more of the pale yellow. I'm going to try to fix that shadow real quick. Okay, I think I got it. It's a little bit better anyway, so all right, I'm going to take the black now. Oh, I'm getting this terrible shine now. Just get that nice and dark. And then go light on this because it's a little darker, but it's not crazy dark. And this isn't dark either, but I love that contrast. I can't help it. My brain wants the contrast. All right. Let's put some of that pale yellow up in here. And then too, once you get the surrounding areas, this is spring green, by the way. Once you get the surrounding areas filled in, this will look a lot brighter and set back in. So you won't have to worry too much. You just got to finish around it to know whether or not that is sufficient of a value. Spring green, some pale yellow. Let's get out our Tombow. I'm going to take out just some of that area here just to give it more depth. Just like that. Okay, I like that. Now let's get our pink out. So we got some little bit of pinks in there. But I think what I'm going to do, let me look. There's a rose pink. I think I'm going to do the granite rose first. Okay, so granite rose. Let's put it in this part of the petal first. Work down through. It's going to blend with that yellow that we have down through here. Because this pink, it kind of looks like it's in here, but it's not. And let's put a little bit through here. Crazy how that pink and yellow blend so nicely together. I'm going to remove this edge so it doesn't make my pencils yucky. All right, now I'm going to use the rose pink, or what's this one? Is it a little bit lighter? Yes. Use a salmon pink first, then probably the rose. Okay, so salmon pink first. Start by just scumbling a little bit of that color in there. Being very gentle here. Okay, and then let's add a little bit of a darker pink, which is the rose pink. I'm just going to bring it We're going to need a darker pink. This actually needs to go all the way into here. And then if you need to blend anything, use that granite rose to blend those edges. I'm going to grab this and take some of that out. I want that to be more yellow. Right here, like a harder edge of that yellow. There's the pale yellow. We'll just blend that in there. Okay, so let's get a darker pink. Actually, let's go with the light purple. I'm gonna go with some light purple in here. Okay. It's like a vein that comes down this way. So in order to separate, I'm going to use a little bit of the brown. And then bring it around here. I'm just gonna. All right, let's add a little bit more brown to this underneath here. I think we're gonna have to like darken up this whole area. Maybe not with brown, but something. A little bit more brown here. And let's put a little bit more of the light purple. And then let's get some of our green ochre going just to darken this area up. And bring it in here too. And then let's get out our Tombow again. Let's do just a little bit of removal. Lighten up some of those areas. All right, let's move on. Let's start working on this part of the petal. It's more of a white cream kind of color with pink in it. Let me make sure I've got you in focus here. So a lot of this we're going to try to do with some grays, some light grays, some cream, which I'm very low on cream. I also have that on order. So I'm going to have to really, really, really make it stretch. It's even smaller than my other one. Okay, so let's start like we always do and take off a lot of these pencil marks. And I'll just go up to like maybe there. And then maybe we'll, let me see, where am I at? Oh, maybe I might be able to go up to here just to keep you in the frame here. We don't want to go too fast though. Get too much going. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to base with cream. Okay, so we're going to have obviously some other colors with like the pale yellow. We're just going to start with the cream though. And if you look, there's a lot of like ribs like going this way, which is why I had all those lines. Just bring this. And and bring it into here, even though there's green and yellow in there. We'll get that later. And even though this pencil color is light, it can be difficult to not want to press really hard. So keep it light. As light as possible. And still get that layer on. All right. Do that, and then let's go ahead in with our light olive. I'm going to start that trend here upwards with that green. And bring it this way. We're going to see this start to come into this area. So we're just going to sort of poke it in there a little bit and then move on to the next and just keep filling this area in. Like that. So far, so good. All right. We need some grays, so let's get out some beige. So with the ash gray, we're just going to focus on doing those little ribs that we're seeing into the tip of the petal. And they're just curving with the petal. And they don't, not all of them anyway, come all the way to the tip. So we're just going to go like this. And then we have a deeper tone in there. I'm going to use a little bit of some light beige. Right in this area, we have this darker shadow because it's like a fold. Not a fold, but it's kind of folded a little bit above it. So you've got like this dimple here. I'm just very lightly going to add that. Might end up having to get the Tombow and erase most of this pencil line here because we're working with really light colors, so we have to like work smarter and not have it be so dark. Okay, so some gray here, or this is the light beige. I'm going to bring it to the tip over here. Just like that. So we have that. Let's work a little bit more on these lines. The lines, they all are like equally spaced. So I have the light beige. I might have to stand too. So the light beige, we're just going to go through and make these lines curve like that. Okay. We're going to make sure that they curve. We don't want them to be uneven. And we're just going to take our time because we're going to fade some of these areas out. them to be equally spaced. And some of them will probably take out to where the lighter areas are. But right now we're just going to equally space them and get them mapped out. Like that. Let's add a little bit more. I hope I'm not in the picture, but a little bit more here for shadow. And then let's work on some of those colors. I've got my light olive. So some of these I'm going to bleed them into that gray beige, that light beige. Just going to push them into there. And then some of them I want to add just a little bit more color. Just like this. Okay, let's grab our, I'm going to do just olive. Do I have olive in here? Let's see, there's the olive. So we're going to bring, and I'm going to work on this piece, I think, too, right there after we get so far. Just real lightly. We've got a thicker piece that kind of comes up like this. And we're going to darken this area. And then we'll skip over and do another little piece here. Like this. Kind of create those little ribs. And then kind of lead that into like these areas. Do a few little spots that are a little darker, like this. Let's darken this part up just a touch. And then I need to darken that even more, so I have my olive black. Make sure it's nice and sharp. It's such a weird spot right here because it's part of the, like this area, and it's curling around, and you're seeing part that's like a hard edge, and then it just like softly rolls into itself. Okay, now let's put a touch, just a touch of brown in there just to make it a little bit darker. And then go ahead and blend it with some olive, just regular olive. Sorry, I probably am getting my big head in the way. I always look at things and end up getting too close. I'm gonna put a little bit of this olive down here too. All right, let's place, where is olive black? A little bit of, there's my light olive. Some more of the light olive. Just going to bring it in here a little bit. And then we can add some of our pinks to the petal now. So I'm going to use the granite rose first. And there is some pink on this edge, right in here. Got some down here. A little bit of color over here. Right here and right here, the edge. And of course we have that nice bright color on this edge. And then there's some white in there, so let's actually take our Tombow. We'll get that fixed up. All right, so this edge needs to be super white. It's kind of hard because we have like, let's do this. Since this side is super pink, because we're going to have to color it pink, we're just going to take some granite rose on that edge and just basically save that so we can get some of that color in there. And we can add some, or I guess remove some spots. This edge is also very white, and behind it is the granite rose or the pink color. So we'll just do this. Okay, make it very white. Let's get out our let's do a little bit more white in here, just brighten that up, this area. All right, that's looking better. Okay, let's use our slice tool, and I'm going to go through and create some of those brighter areas on the petal. Just kind of scrape off some of those areas. Hopefully my head's not in the way. See if we can make some of those additional little bits of texture. All right. So again, let me go through. I didn't use any light gray or any beige, just the light beige. So I'm going to go through where I scraped off and just sort of come underneath it and try to make it a little bit more noticeable by creating those shadows. Just the soft though, just soft shadows. And then I think I will add a little bit of beige. Just to get a little bit more, just a little bit more of the value that I want. And we got to get that pink in there. Let's put some of the beige in here too. All right, let's throw in our pink, our bright pink. Now that is a really bright pink there. What do I want? I'm going to grab these three colors just to see how they do. So there's Indian red, Bordeaux red, and purplish red. So I think I will start out with some Indian and see how that goes. Just get it kind of blocked in around that tip here. So the tip is here. I'm going to be very light because I don't want to add something that I can't take away. And just bring it around. And it needs to go with those lines. Like I don't want to just put like a chunk in it. Okay, and then let's take our Bordeaux red, Bordeaux, over top. Put some of that purple red, purplish red. And then back to our Indian red. I think the Indian red's probably the best. So because this edge here is white, it's really hard to see that, like what's going on in there. So we're just going to have to wait till we get this petal started and done. But that Bordeaux red is doing well so far. I like it the way it is. And let's, I gotta put a little bit of some shadow in there because it just, right now, it just looks real plain, like a red spot. So I'm gonna throw some brown in some of it. I don't want to go over the whole thing. Okay. And then maybe going to take my eraser again, just sort of take some of this off around it. And then I'm going to take maybe my light beige, bring it to that edge a little bit more. Okay. Let's also grab, let's see if there's a dark red. What's this one? Dark carmine. Take our slice tool and I'm just going to remove some of that color. Now what's going to be cool is it's going to stay somewhat pink. If you go very light on the scraping, it's going to give it a little bit more character. And then I think I'm going to go in with a lighter pink. Let's go in with just the regular pink. We're just going to fill that just a little bit and then back it up with some Indian red just to change it a little bit. All right. Let's see. I don't think that one's going to work. I'm looking for some dark red. So I'm not seeing a dark red, but I think that looks pretty good. Just keep picking at it, you know. If you see something, if you want more shadow somewhere, that's what I'm doing now. Can put another shadow here. And we might have to go through and even darken some of these to make them look like they're, you know, waves. All right, pretty good.